Melissa Jefferson Wooden opens up about family struggles, hidden trauma, and saving her father at 17. The sun had barely risen over the quiet streets of Charleston, South Carolina, when Melissa Jefferson Wooden began her morning run. The air carried a faint chill, a reminder of autumn's soft arrival, but her heart felt warm with something far heavier than temperature, memory. To most of the world, Melissa Jefferson Wooden was the queen of sprinting, the lightning bolt who electrified tracks across the globe, a two-time world medalist and one of America's fiercest sprinters. But behind that blinding speed and fierce determination lay a story of deep pain, resilience, and a love that once saved her family from breaking apart completely. Today, for the first time in years, Melissa decided to share it. The sound of sirens. Melissa was only 17 when she heard the sirens that changed her life. It was a humid summer night in North Charleston, the kind where the air felt heavy with stories yet to be told. Her father, William Jefferson, had been struggling for months with work, with depression, with something Melissa couldn't yet name. The family's finances were collapsing after her mother's illness, and her father, once her biggest cheerleader, had started to disappear behind a wall of exhaustion and silence. She had gone to bed that night after a long track meet, still hearing his words echoing in her mind from years before. Run like you're running toward hope, baby. But around midnight, something pulled her awake, the faint metallic sound of a chair scraping the wooden floor. She got up, confused, and followed the noise to the small garage that doubled as her father's workshop. The door was cracked open, and through it, she saw something that would forever burn into her soul. Her father, standing on a chair, a rope hanging from the ceiling beam. Her breath caught. She didn't think. She ran. "Dad!" she screamed, rushing toward him, knocking the chair away just in time to throw her arms around him, forcing him to the ground. He broke down in tears, shaking, whispering apologies she could barely hear. That night, Melissa didn't sleep. She sat on the garage floor with her father until dawn, holding his trembling hands, whispering the same words over and over. "You're not alone. I've got you." Shadows in the family home. In the days that followed, Melissa's house fell heavier, but it also began to heal. Her father agreed to seek therapy through a local support group for veterans, while Melissa took on 2 part-time jobs to help with bills. She became more than a daughter. She became the pillar of the Jefferson family. But the trauma of that night left invisible scars. Every time she laced up her running shoes, she could feel the memory behind her eyes. The sound of the chair, the cold sweat on her palms, the terror that nearly shattered her life. Running became her therapy, her escape from the memories that haunted her. Her coach, Mr. Reeves, noticed a change. "You've got a storm in your legs, Mel," he said one morning after she shattered her personal record. "But storms can destroy or they can bring rain. It's your choice which one you'll be." She never forgot those words. When Melissa received her first college scholarship offer, she cried not out of joy, but out of disbelief. For years, she had convinced herself she wasn't enough. Not fast enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. But every stride on the track began to tell a new story. Her pain became rhythm. Her tears became motion. Her fear became focus. At the NCAA championships, she lined up against the country's best sprinters. The gun fired and the world blurred. For 11 seconds, there was no past, no trauma, only purpose. When she crossed the finish line first, she looked up at the scoreboard and then into the crowd. There in the front row was her father, clean-shaven, smiling through tears, holding a sign that read, "You saved me. Now you save yourself." The world saw a sprinter that day, but Melissa saw a miracle, the weight of silence. Years later, as fame found her, Melissa struggled with whether to tell her story. Sponsors, reporters, and fans loved her charisma, her power, her victories, but none of them knew what she carried behind that smile. Every interview asked about medals. None asked about survival. When she was 24, she stood backstage before a charity event for mental health awareness. The lights glowed blue, the crowd murmured softly, and she felt that same tension in her chest, the one she felt years ago in that garage. Then a small boy approached her, holding a folded photo of his mother. "She died last year," he whispered, "but I run because she used to run." Something inside Melissa cracked. When she walked on stage, she threw away her prepared speech. Instead, she told the truth about that night when she found her father, about the years of silence, about the courage it took to forgive and to keep going. The room fell quiet, and then tears, applause, and a standing ovation, rebuilding from within. In 2024, Melissa launched the Run Toward Hope Foundation, an organization supporting families affected by depression and trauma. The foundation provided therapy grants, youth programs, and crisis hotlines, all inspired by her own journey. Her father became one of its volunteers, leading workshops for men learning to heal from emotional wounds. "I'm not the man I was," he said at one of their events, his voice trembling. "But because of my daughter, I'm the man I always wanted to be." Their bond became unbreakable, forged not by perfection, but by survival, love, loss, and new life. In 2025, Melissa married college sweetheart and sports therapist David Wooden. Their love story was slow, healing, and rooted in understanding. David had once lost his mother to illness and recognized the pain behind Melissa's smiles. Together, they built a life where vulnerability was not weakness, but strength. When Melissa gave birth to their daughter, she named her Grace. "Because grace," she said in an interview, "is what saved my family. Grace to forgive, grace to begin again, and grace to believe that even broken people can become whole." Legacy of light. Today, when Melissa Jefferson Wooden steps onto a track, the crowd sees an athlete, but those who know her story see something far greater. A survivor, a daughter, a healer, and a beacon for those still trapped in darkness. Her life reminds the world that even champions bleed, that strength is born not in victory, but in vulnerability. And when young athletes come to her crying, lost, or afraid, she always tells them the same thing her father once told her: "Run like you're running toward hope." Epilogue: The Flame That Never Dies. Years later, a mural was painted in Charleston near the community center she built. It shows Melissa sprinting forward, her silhouette surrounded by light, and behind her, a faint outline of her father, smiling, hand outstretched as if to say goodbye. Below the mural, 3 words are written: love, survive, run. Those words became her life's message. Because in the end, Melissa Jefferson Wooden didn't just run fast. She ran through pain, past fear, and into healing. She proved that greatness isn't about gold medals or headlines. It's about saving a life, even if the first one you save is your own.